Well, when I was a junior, is anybody like a junior? Any juniors? Okay. When I was a junior, there was this girl that I had a crush on, and I had had a crush on her for like 4 years at this point. Okay, it had been a long time crush. We were really good friends, but I didn't know if she liked me, and I didn't know that whole thing. So we're in band together, and we're riding on a bus to a game, and I'm sitting like facing the aisle talking to my friends and stuff, and she's like a chair or two over back on the other side. And so I look over and she's looking at me, right? And I was like, and I smiled, right? Because she's my friend. And then as she's looking at me, she goes, now my heart, I don't know if you all can see it. That's what she did, okay? And so my heart like just exploded. Okay, I've never done like crack or speed, but it probably feels something like that. I mean, I was just like, what just happened? Okay, because here's this crush for 4 years, and so my brain, you know how your brain can think a lot in like a second? Have you ever experienced like how you have all these thoughts? Okay, and so I'm like, what just happened? And so I look back at her, I'm thinking like, what? And she goes, I'm like, how do you react to this? Like, what do you react when somebody does this? And then she goes out loud, olive juice. I was like, ha ha, that's so funny. I was like back into my chair. I was like, oh man, big bummer. Try that to someone. It's mean. Don't do it. I didn't know what was happening. I thought, is this about to happen? Are we going to fall in love? I mean, I don't know. I was hoping, but it wasn't. It did never happen. So we started talking about love, and there is that falling in love thing that a lot of people hope for and wish for. And we said that falling in love only requires attraction, right? Falling in love requires attraction. It's easy. You can fall in love with all kinds of people. Now, getting them to fall in love with you, that's hard, maybe, but or difficult or complicated. But falling in love is easy. It's like falling into a pool, right? You can just fall in, and it just happens. Sometimes you get pushed in, and you didn't even want to, right? You just get pushed into the pool, or you get pushed into love. Your friend was like, yeah, I texted him and asked him out for you. It's like, whoa, you're never touching my phone again. They just got pushed into love. Some people, they like are like the cannonball into love. It's just like, I'm just going all in, and they just, it splashes all over everybody because they're always posting everything on Instagram, and it's really annoying. You're like, would you please stop talking about it? Nobody cares about it. You have that friend, they're always posting. Okay. There's those kind of love. There's then there's the fall into love, your friend who they thought they could dive, but they belly flopped. You know what I'm talking about? You ever seen that when you're swimming? They thought they could dive, and that's what your love experience was. You tried to dive in, and it just hurt real bad. That's all it was. So there's that part of falling in love, and we're actually not talking about falling in love in these last few weeks. We're talking about other kinds of loves, and there's lots of other loves, and you know that, because the love that you feel for a crush is not the same love that you have for your family or like your brother or your sister, because them, you hate them unless somebody else talks bad about them, and then you love them, right? You've ever experienced that? It's like, I can't stand you, but they talk bad. Don't talk about my sister. Anybody? Nobody? Okay. So there's that kind of love. There's all those different loves. So we're talking about a specific kind of love, and that is Jesus' love. And Jesus' love requires action. There's an action. It's something that you do. It's something that we are in the process of doing, and it's Jesus' love. Now, the reason I call it Jesus' love is because of something we read about. And I don't know if you can imagine this, but so Jesus is... it's the day he's going to be arrested and then be like crucified, okay? It's the day that he's going to get taken, and so they're going to whip him and beat him and do all that. It's that same day, and he knows it's about to happen, so he sits down and has dinner with his disciples. So sitting at a dinner table, and they're talking, and this is his last chance before he goes to the cross to talk to them. So this is like important because you always want to say the important thing last because they're going to forget everything that you said until that very last thing. So he's like, okay, I'm going to say something really important. And his disciple John was one of them that was sitting there. And John wrote it down for us. Thank you, John. So now we know what he said. And so we looked at one of the things that Jesus said to them when he was sitting at the table. And this is what he said. He said, my command is this. And we'll see, now you've been here, you know what it is. But my command, so Jesus said, this is really important. This is my command. This is the one I want you to remember. Like, there's going to be a lot of things that people say, now every Christian should always, Whatever. No Christian should ever, this is what a real Christian is. This is just like, okay, I want you to remember, okay, there's a lot of things you might do. There's a lot of maybe being a Christian. But when it comes down to it, if you don't get this, you got it wrong, okay? This is my command. He says, my command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Love each other as I have loved you. And when he loved, it was an action. It was something he did when he gave himself for us. It's an action kind of a love. And so we're supposed to love like an action. It's something that we do. Jesus taught us to love, and we're supposed to love like that. And he knew that it was a game-changing love. Okay, it is, if you learn to love like Jesus loved, it changes everything in your life, especially your relationships. If you know somebody that has like a good marriage, maybe your parents or maybe someone that you know that has a good marriage, I could tell you something I know about them. They know how to love like Jesus loves. Maybe they just do it intuitively, or maybe they've learned, but they know how to do that. The best friends that you will ever have love like Jesus says to love. They're the kind of friends that you keep for the rest of your life. Those are those kind of friends. They know how to do that. Maybe they just do it because that's who they are, or maybe they learned it somehow, but that's how they love. But beyond being better friends and having better relationships, and as important as that is, that's really important, Jesus intended that people would look at people who go by his name, Christians, right? Christians, right? The people who are going to call themselves by his name, that when people would look at them, they would see what? His love. That they would look at a Christian, that someone that says they're by his name, and go, okay, they're like them. And they would look at someone and say, now, what is with her? They treated her so bad, but she was kind back. And they were talking so bad about him, but he seemed to just let it go. Why is he so kind? Why is she so kind? Why does she go out of her way to help people? Why do they love? Well, and through seeing his people and the way that they loved, that they would see something they hadn't seen before. They would see Christ in us, in you. If you go by his name, this is what he hoped that what he envisioned us being, is love, that we would love each other like he did, and through us, people would see him. Now that's game-changing for the world. If the world was to see Christians as love, then we would be seen very different maybe than we are right now. So I don't know about you, I have discovered though that loving is sometimes not easy. Some people are hard to love. Some people are very hard to love because, we were looking at 1 Corinthians 13, and 1 Corinthians 13 talks about all the stuff love is. Love is patient, love is kind, it keeps no record of wrongs, all these different things. And what you kind of notice there is that almost all of the things it talk about imply that there's a problem, like love is patient. You don't have to do love is patient unless someone is being slow, right? Like if they're keeping up and doing what you want them to do, you're getting out of your way, you don't have to be patient. You have to be patient when somebody is being slow. In fact, in all of your relationships, whether it is your relationship with your family, your friends, the guy checking you out in Walmart, whoever it is, the lunch lady, I don't know who it is, there's going to be conflict, okay? Not like, I cut you, conflict, but like, this represents conflict in my illustration, okay? So you're going to have situations where there's going to be conflict. And here's a great example from 1 Corinthians 13. It says, love does not envy. Love does not envy. So we talked about patience. We talked about keeping no records of wrongs the last couple weeks. It says love does not envy. So what is envy? Envy is somebody got or has something that you want. So maybe you tried out for the team and you worked really, really hard and you thought you were going to get it and they got what you wanted. Right? Or you should have gotten this, but they got it. Or I called shotgun. I'm supposed to have the front seat. Maybe it's that stupid. I don't know what you envy about. But there's all kinds of things. And so what happens in a relationship, and so somebody gets the thing, and then they come down and they sit down on the lunch table and they're talking about how awesome it is and how fun it is. And then there's that conflict, right? And stuff comes out of you, and it makes a mess. Water balloons aren't loud. Y'all don't have to keep covering your ears. Okay, and it makes a mess. Well, all this stuff. Well, you don't really deserve it because you don't, he just likes you better. The coach, favoritism and blah, blah, blah. And all this stuff starts coming out. And all of a sudden, because of envy, we become a jerk about something because that comes out of us. Or there's another one. So it says, do not envy. And then it says, and love does not boast. which I love that because it's almost the opposite, okay? In envy, we're upset because somebody has something that we want, but in boasting, it's the opposite of that. It's like this, it's like, I got it, and they didn't. And then you start to brag about how good you are, and oh, you stink, and I'm awesome, right? And people like to boast. I mean, come on, that's what dancing is for in Fortnite, right? That you kill somebody, what's the first thing you do? Okay, you do a little dance on them, you let them know, okay? And I'm not telling you can't dance on people in Fortnite, okay? I can't because my name's Pastor Jonathan. I just feel like it's bad if a pastor, dances on somebody when they kill them. But anyways, you get something, you've thought this, you got it or whatever, and all of a sudden it comes out of you. Junk, right? Junk. We talked last week about keeping no record of wrongs. Do you remember that? Or maybe it's just being patient, like we talked about before. And here's what you're going to realize. There's going to be conflict in your relationships. All of them at some point. And with your brother or your sister, it may happen every single day. I don't know. You share the bathroom with them, and they know that you have to get ready, and they know that you need to take a shower. Why are you taking so long in there? And then, it's just one more time, and again, there's that conflict. And you see how I'm making a mess up here? And this is exactly what happens to your relationships if you let the wrong stuff come out. When love doesn't come out, so Jesus had a different idea, though. Okay, Jesus' idea is that when we had conflict, that we wouldn't make a mess. That when somebody comes up and they're, annoying you, they're saying things they shouldn't, when they're gossiping about you, when they're talking bad about you, that instead of a mess coming out, something else would come out. Because conflict is going to come. But what if when the conflict came, that something else came out? That was Candy, if you didn't notice. Y'all freaked out a little bit right there, didn't you? She thought I sat in the wrong seat. Okay, why did Candy come out? Now, if you were here last year, you know the answer to that, because that's what's in there, okay? And if love is in you, and if you've learned how to love, when a conflict happens and there's something like that, something different will come out of you. Instead of, you can stop coming your ears, I don't have a balloon anymore. All right, instead of a mess coming out, something good is going to come out of you. Instead of yuck, love comes out. And so that's what we want to do. When we have conflict, when we have problems, we want to love. We want to love like Jesus did. And so I want to talk to you really briefly about the attitude of love. And if you can learn to have this attitude, loving will be a lot more easy for you. It will be something that you begin to just do because of your attitude. Your attitude is right. So again, we're going to 1 Corinthians chapter 13 because that's where we look if we want to learn about love, or a great place to look if we want to learn about love. And Paul, who wrote it, says this about love. One little sentence here. Love is not self-seeking. 1 Corinthians 13:5. Love is not self-seeking. How about this word that you probably have used? Selfish, right? Selfish. Okay, love is not selfish. It is not self-seeking. It doesn't just look for itself. Now, this is really easy to see in other people, by the way, because you've probably said to your brother or your sister or someone in your family, you're so selfish. You only care about you. You're selfish. You care about yourself. So maybe it's, they're always just getting their things for them, and they don't care about you. They don't care about your stuff. Or maybe you're selfish, because every time they say, here, if your parents said, cut you and your sister, your brother, a piece of that cake, there's only one piece of that, cut it in half for y'all, what do? Your size is the size of Texas, theirs is Rhode Island, right? And you're like, it looks even to me, okay? And because why? Because we have that self-seeking thing in us, okay? And that's just kind of part of it. But love is not self-seeking. It can be small, stupid things like that. I've seen it be really big things. I've seen people lie on people, trick people, pretending like they were their friends so that they could get something out of it. I knew some guys in high school that bragged about telling girls that they loved them and did all this stuff to get girls to do things when they had no real love for them. It was a fake. It was selfish. It was self-seeking. It was not love. Love is not self-seeking. So the same guy who wrote this, Paul, he gives us a little more information about how we do this. Okay, so we're going to look at first one more little verse here in Philippians 2:3, and he says this: do nothing. Now, some of you wish I could stop there because you don't want to do anything. You're like, yes, do nothing. That's my favorite thing. But I just wanted to point out that he's saying do nothing, like do no thing. Like there's no thing that you're going to do the same after you hear this verse, okay? So do nothing, do no thing, do nothing out of selfish, there's that word again, selfish ambition or vain conceit. Selfish ambition or vain conceit, that's like where you think you're better than other people, where, you value yourself higher than everybody else. So I'm not going to do stuff, he says, anything. I'm going to do no thing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. That's that, well, I'm better. Or I deserve it. I mean, come on, I work so hard, I deserve it. They don't, I should have this, I need it, okay, there's this, it's all about me, it's all about what I can achieve and all that kind of stuff. So we're not going to do it like that. And then comes the challenge, the real part, the part that's like, that shows us how to live it. And it's going to be hard for some people to agree with and swallow, but this is what he says. But in humility, consider others better than yourselves. In humility, consider others better than yourself. Now, he's not saying that others are better than you. They're better than you are. No, okay, we all have value before God. Okay, we're the same before God. Okay, but he says this: consider others, treat others as if they are better than you. Now that would change your attitude if you begin to look at others and think of them as better than you. Now, let's make it easy. Okay. If you could have if any famous person, celebrity, somebody like that, athlete, I don't know, actor, whatever you find cool, okay, was to come to your house, who would you pick? Like, get them in your mind, okay? Like, there's somebody famous going to come to your house, okay? I'm just curious, who would it be? Okay. Zac Efron. Oh, no. Okay. All right, so here's the point. Now, okay, you've got somebody in your head. I hope you have somebody that's going to help you understand this example. So if they came over to your house, whoever this person is that you respect or care like or whatever, they come over and they're sitting in your living room, all right? They're sitting on your couch and you're sitting there. Would you let them talk or would you ignore them and like talk over them every time they tried to? Right, you would let them talk, right? You would prefer them. If they said, hey, can I have some water? You wouldn't say, yeah, you got 2 legs. Go in the kitchen and get it yourself, all right? You wouldn't say that. You would treat them or consider them. You would treat them like they were better than you. You would treat them something special in that moment, wouldn't you? You already know how to do this because you certainly would in that situation. If you have ever been to a wedding and you were not the bride or groom, then you have done this, right? So you go to the wedding, right? And the bride, she steps in and everyone rises, right? And everyone's like, oh, there she is. You came in and nobody cared, right? That's the way it is, because in that moment, everyone's considering her better than themselves. They know how to treat her. In fact, I discovered at my wedding, I still wasn't the most important. There were 5 people wearing the same outfit as me. I'm pretty sure if something happened to me, the next one would have just stepped up and been like, I'm ready, because there was 5 of them. I wasn't even the best man there. I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. So, but if you've been there, you know what it's like. You know how to prefer somebody. You know how to show, well, to treat somebody like they're better than you. Not that we're saying they are better, but you're treating them like they are. Now that is the attitude of love. Love treats others better than we would treat ourselves, or that treats others the way that we wish that we were treated. It looks to others and treats them like they're better than us, or at least that is the attitude of love. Now, this would certainly change some things in your family, wouldn't it? Because, by the way, it says others, not just celebrities, okay? Not just the bride, others. That's a lot of people, because she's another, and he's another, and she's another, and she's another, and he's another, and she's another. You're all another, okay? There's a lot of others in this room to treat this way, okay? Much less in your life. And so he's talking about we should treat others this way. And this is a game changer for the way that you do life and you live Christianity out, as if you would begin to look at others this way. It would change certainly the way you treated your family. It would change your relationships with others, with friends, with your teacher, with your coach. I don't know who it would affect the most, but it would certainly affect things. And then, as if like this is not enough, he tells us why, and he drives it home, okay? It's still same thing here. He says, your attitude should be the same as that of Christ Jesus. So he says we should consider others better than ourselves, and he says your attitude should be the same as Christ Jesus, right? Because we're supposed to love like he loved us, so our attitude should be the same as his is. And what is his attitude towards us? Think about it. He looked at us who are not as good as him. I don't know about you, I'm not as good as Jesus, okay? Someday, every single person is going to get on their knees and bow before him. Every person that believes, every person that doesn't believe. In eternity, every single person is going to get on their knees before him. That's the one that looked at us, and what did he do? He considered us better than himself and gave himself for us. Now that's love. He did it, so we should have the same attitude that people that haven't done good to us, people that have maybe wronged us, people that have done, things they shouldn't have, people that haven't earned it, people who have done the opposite of earned it. In fact, they earned something else from us, right? People that have not earned it, and we should consider them better than ourselves, and we should love them, and we should treat them like that. Can you imagine if you started doing this? I can tell you that like my wife and I, we do this for each other. So if we're trying to pick something to eat, then or whatever, I'm gonna prefer her. I want to make her happy. If I would prefer to go do something and she wants to do this, I try to do what she wants. You know what's really great is she does the same thing back. And so it makes things really great. Now, can you imagine if you did this with your family, what would happen? I know some of you are thinking, well, my family won't do it back, okay? I'm going to do it for them, and they're just going to take advantage of me. They're not going to do it back, and da-da-da-da. But here's what you need to remember. We don't love others because they loved us. We loved others because Jesus loved us. That's why we do it. We love others because it's in 1 John. But anyways, yeah, we don't love others because he loved us. We love others because... You know what I'm trying to say. We don't love them because they've done so much for us. We love them because what Jesus has done for us. And then, it will change you. It will change you. If you can begin, this has messed me up this week because I've been thinking about preaching it. And I've been out and I'm driving and someone's about to cut me off and I'm like, oh, I can beat them. And I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to treat them better. Okay, go ahead. And it's messed me up all throughout the week. It will mess you up if you just start thinking, I'm supposed to consider them better than myself. I'm supposed to consider them better than myself. It changes you. So I want to end tonight. We're gonna pray because I know some of you, when we talk about your family and stuff like that, your family is a mess and y'all fight all the time. And you think about trying to treat them like this, and you're like, that's impossible in my house. Well, I tell you, a great way to start that change is to pray about it. And to pray that God would make a change in your heart first. And as your heart changes and you begin to love them, believing that God will begin to do a work in their heart. So I want to, if that sounds like a struggle, it sounds like something that's impossible, in just a minute, I want to encourage you to go pray with somebody. But also, if you need prayer for anything that's going on in your life, anything at all that's going on in your life, we want to pray with you and believe that God's going to help you and strengthen you and get you through whatever you're facing. So in just a moment, we're going to all stand and we're going to sing just part of a song. And you can go to the back of the room. There'll be people your age there to pray with you and believe with you. Father, I pray that we would all learn to love the way that you love, to see others the way that you see them, and to have that attitude that we want to treat people the way we would want to be treated. We thank you for your love for us. I pray that we would never forget it. In Jesus' name, amen.